The town was buried under a heavy blanket of snow. The wind howled through the empty streets, rattling windows and stirring the skeletal branches of leafless trees. Streetlights cast dim reflections on icy pavements, turning the town into a quiet, frozen world. It was the kind of cold that seemed to seep not just into bones, but into hearts, leaving a lingering emptiness. Inside a small roadside diner at the edge of town, James Whittaker worked silently. He wiped down worn tables, his hands cracked and raw from decades of labor. His apron bore the stains of countless meals, each one prepared with care, each plate a quiet act of love. Every day he served more than food. He served dignity, respect, and warmth to a town that had almost forgotten how it felt to be seen. The bell above the entrance jingled faintly, drawing his attention. Peering through the frosted glass, he saw them. Two small children, trembling from the cold, their faces pale and pressed against the glass. The boy, around 11, had eyes that carried too much fear. The girl, barely 6, clutched a worn doll to her chest, shivering violently. Hunger, cold, and desperation were written on their tiny faces. James's heart clenched. He recognized the look, the hollow emptiness of children who had known loss, who had learned too early that the world could be cruel. Without hesitation, he opened the door. "Come in," he said softly. "You're safe here." The first meal, a moment that changed everything inside, the warmth of the diner wrapped around them like a comforting blanket. James placed steaming bowls of soup in front of the children, the aroma rich and inviting. Their hands trembled as they took the first cautious bites. The boy tore pieces of bread and shared them with his sister. The girl, shy but hungry, clutched her spoon tightly, staring at the food as if it were magic. James didn't ask their names. He didn't press for details. He simply watched, a quiet guardian, as their fear slowly melted into relief. He packed extra sandwiches and slipped a $20 bill into a small paper bag. "You can come by any time," he told them gently. That night he closed the diner with a heavy heart, wondering if he would ever see them again. The next morning the children were gone. They never returned, but their faces haunted him, not in sorrow, but as a reminder of the small power of human kindness. Life at Whittaker's Haven, years of quiet dedication. Years passed. James never stopped working. The diner, once struggling, slowly transformed. Word spread about the man who remembered faces, who asked after the sick, who served with patience and dignity. Locals no longer came just for food. They came for the warmth that James radiated. When the owner decided to retire, James took a leap of faith. Every penny he had, every borrowed dollar went into buying the diner. He renamed it Whittaker's Haven. It wasn't just a restaurant anymore. It became a sanctuary, a safe place during storms, a kitchen for the hungry, a quiet refuge for those with nowhere else to go. Despite the joy he found in helping others, James's life was not without hardship. His niece, whom he raised like a daughter, faced her own battles: depression, loneliness, the trials of youth. He never stopped writing letters, sending gifts, praying that she was safe, praying that she would find her way. A winter morning that changed everything. Then, 22 years later, on a crisp winter morning, the diner-turned-haven was quiet. James was preparing the kitchen before dawn, humming softly to himself. A low hum outside caught his attention. Peering through the frosted window, he froze. A sleek black Rolls-Royce had pulled up in front of Whittaker's Haven. The car gleamed like a jewel against the snow. From it stepped two figures, a young man with familiar, piercing eyes and confident posture, and a woman with golden brown hair and a crimson coat, her face radiant with recognition and emotion. The young man walked forward slowly, reverently, scanning the diner as if it were sacred ground. When his gaze settled on James, a slow smile spread across his face. It was a smile full of trembling gratitude, a mixture of disbelief and relief. "You probably don't remember us," he said softly, "but you saved our lives." The woman stepped forward, tears welling up. "I was the little girl in the purple hoodie," she whispered. "You gave us soup. You gave us safety. We never forgot." The reunion, a full-circle moment. James stood frozen, memories flooding back like an unstoppable river. The boy, now a grown man, spoke again. "My name is Elijah, and this is my sister, Anna. After that night, we went through foster care, hardships, and struggles that no child should endure. But your kindness, it stayed with us. It gave us hope. It gave us a reason to survive." Elijah had grown into a successful tech entrepreneur. Anna had become a pediatric surgeon, dedicating her life to helping children in need. Their successes were not just personal triumphs. They were tributes to a man who had once shown them nothing but care and humanity. Then came the gift, keys to a new opportunity, letters detailing the donation of $2 million to expand Whitaker's Haven into a community outreach center. The Rolls-Royce was more than a car. It was a symbol of gratitude, of lives forever changed, of a circle finally completed. James's tears fell freely. The town gathered outside, silent at first, then erupting in cheers. They had always known his worth. Now the world did too. As James embraced Elijah and Anna, he whispered, "No act of love, no gesture of kindness is ever wasted. Because, in the end, the simplest acts, a warm meal, a helping hand, a listening ear, can echo across decades, shaping lives in ways we can never fully see.